Hi there, welcome back to our next video in the social emotional learning series. We are going to talk about the next competency today, which is self-esteem. So as you know, I'm going to start off with just a simple definition that you can use with kids if you choose. And so self-esteem is basically believing good things about ourselves, feeling proud of ourselves, and feeling proud of the choices that we make. So that's what we're getting at with self-esteem. So what are some activities that we can do with kids, and then books that we can use to support instruction or discussion of self-esteem in the classroom or at home? So let's look at a few activities first. The first two that I listed are actually games, like card games that you can purchase, on Amazon or wherever. And they are called Totem and the Tower of Self-Esteem. And the thing that I like about these games is that they can be used in a lot of different settings. So whether you are a mental health professional or a school counselor, social worker, a teacher, or a parent, you can make these games work for you. I actually really love them as a parent because they're sort of like conversation starter games. Um, it's similar to the game Table Topics that I feel like was kind of popular there for a while to kind of spark your dinner time discussion or whatever. Um, they kind of have that sort of feel to them. So they can be really used across a lot of different environments, which make them pretty awesome. So those are great. Just some simple self-esteem activities that you can do. You can do what I like about myself, whether that's listing or drawing a picture, to get kids to focus on the things that they do well or that they do like about themselves or that other people like about them. An achievement wall. What are the things that our class or our family has achieved so far, during this period of whatever period of time we're talking about? Look at all the amazing things once you have it up on a wall to see everything that you've accomplished. Practicing positive affirmations. Um, and you can do this in a couple of different ways. You can do this sort of proactively or reactively. This is one thing that we do at our house a lot. When our kids say something in a more negative tone or they've worded it more negatively, we'll say like, oh, well, how could we turn that positive? Or we'll help them turn it around. But then also giving them those affirmations to say more proactively to help our brains start to believe them, right? Goal setting, tracking. This is a great way to help kids feel small wins, right? If you've heard the term celebrate small wins, um, have them set goals so they can actually feel that sense of accomplishment and break it down into smaller pieces so that they have those small wins or senses of accomplishment that they can celebrate and see all the steps that they're taking to get to that bigger goal that they've set. Again, at our house, we set goals at the beginning of every year in January, something new that we want to do or learn to do. And then we post them up on the refrigerator and we celebrate the steps that we're taking to, make that thing happen. And we celebrate when we do hit that goal. And of course, in classrooms, there's so much goal setting that kind of by default is happening, right? But include kids in those conversations. The next one is a favorite, fears and possible outcomes. You have kiddos who are struggling, they are afraid of something, talk through that fear and all of the possible outcomes. So for instance, if you have a child who is afraid to start taking a new class somewhere, like a extracurricular activity type of class, gymnastics or be on a team or whatever that looks like for you, talk through what's the worst that could happen. Okay, so we walk inside the gymnastics center. And what's the worst that could happen at that point? We don't know where to go. Okay, so then what could we do? Well, we could ask somebody for help or directions, tell them who we are and what we're there for. Yes, okay. So then once we figure out where we're supposed to go, we're walking there. What's the worst thing that could possibly happen? We find our group and nobody says anything. Okay, so what could you do in that situation? So you're making it less scary by talking to them about all the terrible things that could happen and letting them problem solve each of those things ahead of time. This is great for fears, things that kids are just afraid to do, especially when it's something new and unfamiliar, right? Classroom responsibilities are great for raising self-esteem, right? I was actually just on a call with a school and we were talking about this. Giving kids responsibilities in the classroom it serves so many purposes, right? Maybe you are trying to address a certain behavior and you're finding the strength in that behavior by giving them this job. But you're also helping foster self-esteem in that kid by giving them a responsibility. They feel like they are responsible for something, they're being held accountable for something, they are important to you as the teacher or you as the parent. Responsibilities, whether at home or in the classroom, I know it says classroom, super important in building self-esteem. And then last one, a compliment jar. We did this in my classroom, and I mean, I'm sure I've seen so many different classrooms do a variation of this where they're earning, marbles or whatever in a compliment jar, and they're working toward earning something as a class. This can work at home though too, when you're getting compliments for behaving a certain way or how kind you were at this public place. And letting them use that as part of a reward, right, that they're working toward earning. All of these things help them to see all of the great things that they do and what they should be proud of about themselves. Now on to the books. Gosh, there are so many. It's always hard to even narrow down. There are so many great ones on here. Some maybe you've heard of. Giraffes Can't Dance is a pretty popular picture book. Stand Tall, Molly Llewellyn is another one. And then there's some on here that maybe you have not read before. And there are just some real gems on here. So check out some of these books. They're all great for using as a springboard for a self-esteem discussion. And let me know other ideas that you have, things that you've used in your classroom, used at home with your kiddos. Hopefully you've gotten some new ideas for this specific competency, and I will be back next time and we will be discussing friendship. So I will see you then.